Hi, this is Diana from Yarnetti's Crochet, and I wanted to share with you some of my experiences after having worked with some beginning crochet students for a couple of sessions. I wanted to share with you that the reason why I'm doing this is I'm participating in the Craft Yarn Council Certified Instructor Program, and I'm starting with level 1. This is the website in case you're interested in getting more information, and I'll also put it in the show notes. But I first started this program with Craft Yarn Council about 3 years ago, and I made it through making a lot of the swatches. Part of the program is you as the instructor need to know how to make particular crochet stitches in a particular way, and you need to demonstrate your ability to follow instructions. And I was able to get through most of the swatches, but I never did my student teaching. There's a student teaching portion of the process, and I never submitted my swatches. I just didn't finish. Not unusual for me. So I recently signed back up with the program, and I have noticed that they've made some changes to the instructor's manual, and although I'm not going to share the specific materials, I am going to talk more about my experiences going through this process of getting certified with the Craft Yarn Council. I really felt like the student teaching part was important for me. In my previous lifetime, I was a public educator, and I went through student teaching as part of my as my teacher certification process, and I think it's really important, and I wanted to take it seriously because I really have a passion for crochet, and I want to be able to pass that on with authenticity to other potential learners. So I just felt like I really wanted to dive in deep with the student teaching process. So I have some of my swatches completed, but I'm also doing some practice sessions with volunteer students who've been nice enough to volunteer to be my guinea pigs. And we've had 3 sessions, and I have learned a ton. They have taught me a tremendous amount in just the 3 times that we've met. I've learned that I definitely have enjoyed this experience. I really am loving teaching crochet. I've learned that it is very important to have a lesson plan, not just for the students, but for you as the teacher. One thing I did at the very beginning is I created this folder of materials for the students, and inside I had resources for all kinds of things, and I can share some of those handouts with you. If people are interested, you can make mention of that in the comments, and I can share some of those materials with you. But I created this folder of resources, and I offered a free session for students to see if they really wanted to go further with some crochet lessons, because sometimes, you try something and then you're like, ugh, it's not for me, or you are like, yeah, I want to keep doing this. And I wanted them to have that opportunity, and I also wanted them to have the opportunity if they felt like, I can do this on my own. I want to learn on my own. I don't want to deal with some teacher. I wanted to give them the resources to help them do that, because the bottom line is I want people to enjoy the crochet process, and I respect an individual's crochet journey. So I wanted to give them some tools to help them do it their way if they wanted to. So that's something I would definitely do again. I need to remember, always treat students as individuals. Everybody learns at their own pace, in their own time, in their own way, and they must be treated as individuals, even if you're teaching small groups or a large group. One thing I need to remember to do, and I think it's really effective, is to name and notice things that you want students to continue to do as they're doing them. So, for example, if you're teaching a student to do a chain and you notice that they are creating a chain that's not too tight and it's just the right size for a hook to enter that crochet stitch, so that when they go to learn how to crochet into a chain, it's going to be really good for them. Notice, hey, your chain stitches are just the right size that I can insert a hook into it. That's excellent. Name and notice what they're doing that you want them to continue to do. And that specificity of what you notice, I think, is really important. And be generous with your authentic encouragement. Be generous, because I think this leads to this concept right over here, and that is that learning to crochet can feel very risky for students. You are fumbling around with this hook and this yarn, and this person is trying to show you and using words you've never heard before. It can feel very risky, because it's like, you're publicly learning how to do this thing, and this thing that's not natural, and it can be risky. So just remember what it's like. I mean, one of the things that I want to do, and I need to put it on my to-do list, is I'm a right-handed crocheter, but I need to practice crocheting in a left-handed manner, because it will help me remember what it feels like to be a newbie crocheter, because we forget after multiple years of crocheting. We forget what it's like, those feelings, what it feels like to try to tension that yarn. And I think I need to spend some time doing that, probably on a daily. If I'm going to expect my students to do this, I need to do it as well. So I need to stay focused on their needs and be willing to alter the lesson plan as needed. And remember that, again, they're individuals. And this is important, because I'm teaching a pair of students right now, and they're very different learners. They're very different people. They have their own goals. They have their own reasons for learning to crochet. So what have this is stuff I learned about me as a teacher, but what have I learned about my students after these first 3 sessions? And most of the sessions were 60 minutes. I think the first one might have been 90 minutes. I can't remember exactly. And as part of my training, I need to get 15 hours of student teaching experience. So I am keeping track of my time. So I've learned that as students can be so hard on themselves, they can be very critical. You need to recognize that and help them move through that self-criticism. Also, students may not tell you how they feel about how the session is going or what they're learning, so you need to ask. You need to make sure that your instructional area is free of all potential cat allergens. Very important. And ask them, are you allergic? Where I'm providing my instruction is in my home. I have a cat. And you need to be respectful of that and take steps to make sure that wherever their instructional area is pristine. I just already talked about this, is students have their own unique project goals. Respect their project goals. Just because it's stuff that maybe you would never make doesn't make a difference. Maybe they want to make amigurumi and that's not your thing, doesn't matter. It's their lessons. It's their journey, not yours. This is something I really need to work at, is I need to focus in and zero in on each student's just right level of challenge, because you need to offer challenge during sessions, but not too little, not too much. You need to be right there in that sweet spot in between. Students appreciate knowing that the instructor has a plan and a sequence of instruction. It makes them build confidence in their instructor, and this is a biggie. During my third session, I did this to a student, and I got the look from the student like, lady, what are you doing to me? I did this. I veered off into a direction that was too challenging because they mentioned they wanted to eventually make a granny square, or they wanted to make a hanker or a head scarf using that looked like a granny square. And I thought, well, I'm gonna go with what they're feeling and they're interested in because I want to support them. And this was a student that she seemed to be kind of understanding the crochet process pretty readily, and I messed up. I went too far, and I got the look of frustration, and don't do this to your students. Don't make that same mistake. So that's definitely something that I need to make sure that I'm focused on during the next session. So the next time we get together, between then and now, we have a week. I have a week. I want to make additional support videos for my students. I want to make more support videos for them, specifically related to our sessions. I think this is really helpful. And then just email them the link. And it just gives them that extra review. And then I also am considering, I don't know if I'll have time to do this, but I'm considering doing a preview video of what we're going to be focusing on, or what we need to focus on for the coming week. So they have some idea of where we're going next. So there's always a plan, like, okay, well, what do we do after this? How do I reach my goal? Why is she teaching me this thing? Why does it matter? My friend that crochets, she doesn't do this particular technique, and she's doing fine. Give them a roadmap. And definitely I need to do this. And I'm going to use business cards to do this. For crocheting into a chain, I want to create little cheat cards with chain multiples and what chain to insert their hook in for single, half double, and double crochet on a little like business card, so they can stick it in their pouch with their hooks and their needles and just have it handy. I think that would be helpful. This is the other thing I need to do. Left-handed videos. Yeah, I have a long to-do list. So, also, this is something I am finding. I should have done this right off the bat. Right off the bat. Students need ways to organize their supplies immediately. And if that means creating a kit for them, I think I need to be doing that, because time is wasted, money is wasted, and I respect my students' time and money. So that means even if you're providing Ziploc bags for their stitch markers and their needle, they need a way to organize right away so they don't lose their things. And they have the stuff they need when they come to class. They have their stuff and they're ready to roll. So I think that's important. Frequently checking in with students during the session to see how they're feeling and they're thinking about themselves as crocheters. And at the end of the session or during the session, I think it's really helpful to ask questions like, what have you noticed about your crochet? What do you notice about yourself as a crocheter? So they themselves are reflecting. Because again, I have students that are really hard on themselves, and they see my projects, my complex projects that are in my studio, And it can be like, well, I'll never be able to do that. I want them to feel like with the foundation skills, they're going to be able to make choices about whatever they want to make. But we just need to get the foundation skills solid. So I really want to focus on their success during the sessions, their confidence, and their proficiency in what they already know. So taking what they know and building on what they know. Breaking things down into bite-size nuggets. That's the key to success. That's the key to feeling success and feeling like you're making progress, in my opinion. I'm considering, in my lesson plan, starting off with a list of what I notice about each student's progress. What did I notice? Because they may not know just how far they've come. And I need to remember, and I think this is important, that these sessions, they're about the students. They're not about tooting your own horn or sharing a bunch of your own stuff. Personal oversharing, and I'll admit it, I have issues with that. It isn't helpful to my students. I need to knock it off. I need to just stop. Keep the focus on them. This is their time, and it's about their progress. And the reason why this reflection is important to me is, again, I'm passionate about crochet, and I want to be able to teach students in ways that perpetuate that passion. I want to see individuals feel the success and feel great about themselves as a crocheter and feel all the stuff that I felt with maybe less frustration. Because if I can fill in the holes for them, maybe they won't make some of the same mistakes that I made. So I just wanted to share that with you, and hopefully I will continue to share with you my experiences progressing through level 1 of the Yarn Council Certified Instructor Program. I think it just has a lot of excellent information. And another time I will share with you some other crochet instructor programs that I have participated in and I've benefited from. So thanks for listening. And if you're learning to crochet or you have desires to become a crochet teacher, you can do it. And it takes work, but you can do it. And it's really worth it.